What is the problem over there?
Flashlight.
You know, I ain't got electricity or
I
something.
can't
What,
even
like,
my computer.
question? You look into the camera like, going, what? And you look at electricity. What's going on? What's with the flashlight?
I can't see myself.
The flashlight. No, not flashlight. I don't know if that's what you said.
Flashlight.
Flashlight.
Hold on, wait.
That's the wrong body part.
Flashlight.
Right, hold on, wait. I never mentioned the flashlight. I did mention a flashlight.
Why would I need a flashlight?
What is? Oh, no, wait. So what's with the flashlight? What's going on with the flashlight?
I can't see myself.
Whoa, that did not come out right. Anywho,
we can see you.
Oh, absolutely the fuck not.
Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. Welcome to my Friends Are Everywhere podcast, where me and my co-host have a frank and light-hearted discussion with some of the people who've become our friends during our travels over the years. Hopefully this will provide an honest and sometimes enlightening insight into our lives as well as theirs, as we all just try to negotiate new and interesting cultures. And even if these insights aren't always forthcoming, we might be able to provide a humorous perspective to lives outside of our home countries. Stay with us and let's see.
I'm back. This is nice, Ray. I like it. I like it. Do you know this song, girls?
No, I don't. He constantly tells me I have been nowhere.
Ray's coming in with a little bit of the old Raphael Sadiq. He's trying to act cool.
Oh, there's nothing cool about me. You have no clue. I was born and raised in the life. I have never been cool.
Okay, that's all good.
I don't even like
all right, Ray.
Cool.
Okay. All right, we're done. Okay. Raphael Sadiq. Trying to cool.
I got my time.
I thought I knew it. I don't. I have no idea.
Oh, was that a test? Yo, as a teacher, I do not.
That was
no test.
If it was a test, you have not passed.
It was no test. It was no. We do it at the beginning of every single podcast.
I thought this was supposed to be different.
Wow, all three sides, huh? This feels like a very terrible foursome. Probably.
Well, a virtual foursome, not really.
If that makes you uncomfortable, it's about to be a long, however long this show is.
Virtual foursomes don't make me uncomfortable in any way whatsoever.
It make me very uncomfortable.
Virtual foursomes make you uncomfortable?
Yes, because I don't know where to look.
Like real foursomes would make me uncomfortable because I'd be like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Well, I just would automatically call bottom, so I don't care.
On the virtual foursome, well, you're at the bottom already. Yeah, you're at the bottom.
Starfish.
No,
of the screen.
If I'm already doing, okay.
Of course. So first things first. Introduce yourself. Mm-hmm. Who do we have here today?
My name is Hove.
H to the O-V.
That's really not my name.
That's what your name.
Or mine.
Mine. You wanna go?
I don't, but I will.
Okay, just go.
Okay, my name is Maeve Jackson.
Sheesh.
I have to stress the Maeve because most people get it wrong.
Maeve.
Don't call my name ever again.
Maeve.
My name is Maeve Jackson.
Maeve. All right, Maeve.
Oh, wow. You can't say it either. Okay, so y'all can just call me MJ.
We'll start dunking on people.
Everybody calls me MJ.
Wait. Have I missed a conversation about virtual foursomes?
No. It's way gone late. We're doing introductions now, Ray. We're doing introductions. You've missed the virtual foursome. It's done.
Do we have to do it over?
No,
that might help y'all pronounce my name right.
Go on. All right. Maeve.
I'm trying to use my accent. It's too hard not to because I'm trying to sound like I'm trying to sound all decent and proper.
When do you do that anyways?
I mean, the words that come out are neither decent nor proper, but they come out in a pretty understandable accent. Okay, so my name is Maeve Jackson. Shut up, Nadia.
Girl, I just want some oxtail right now.
Oh my God, right? Oh my God.
Okay, go.
Yes, but most people call me MJ.
Oh, some rice and peas.
I'm from. Oh my God.
Some roti.
$10.
Roti. Oh my God, Jesus Christ.
She know about roti. She know about roti.
Oh God.
She's
Okay. So most people call me
well,
MJ.
let us say. Let her tell us. Okay.
And I'm from Dominica. DA Massive, what's up?
The Dominican girls in the house.
Dollars.
What?
Oh, dollars, Dominican dollars.
Easy dollars.
Oh, we're doing this.
Oh, no, we don't.
You have the easy dollars.
Introduce yourself. Hi,
Okay.
I'm Nadia.
Hi.
As we were.
Hi. Who are you, Sandy from SpongeBob? Hi.
I'm from Tennessee, first of all. Get off my NUTs, because you get none of these at ease.
Take me to
However,
another place. Take me to another world.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for everyone who likes Jack Daniels. You're welcome. And closet racism.
You've got enough of that.
Sometimes.
Is it closet?
There's a lot of exposure.
Oh. No.
It was closeted more so where I'm from, you know.
I feel like
now it's just out there.
I feel like it's very out in the
Caught
open.
out there like Khalees. Take your time.
I won't. I already got it.
You like it?
I get it.
I love that song. A tee. But that's I'm pretty basic, so I mean that's it.
He found us in a club.
Twice. He found us in a club twice.
I just realized
Twice.
it sounds like a
Twice. You found it twice though. Nice.
Found them twice in the club.
Yeah, we're from
like Jesus.
Mellow Monday and then Zapadas.
Yeah.
Zapadas. What is Zapadas?
What's
Zapatas.
Zapatas. Look at this. Look at this.
Zapatas.
Zapatas.
Just edit it out.
Kick that.
Edit it out.
Zapatas.
You said it right though. With that.
Zapatas.
Anyway, where
Zapatas.
We're in Margarita Place.
Okay, the margarita place, cool.
We absolutely did not go for the free margaritas or drink half their margaritas.
Of course you didn't.
While we were
Of course you didn't. Of course you
We're
didn't.
not lying either because we're sitting up. So.
Exactly.
Perfect. So why have you, so the first question is always, why China, girls? Why China?
First of all, I don't know who you are.
Do I have to introduce myself?
Yes, you do.
You and all that cleavage.
Oh, goddamn!
I like the collarbone. It's nice.
And
That's
she's
my name.
checking your ass
my name.
out, boy.
I didn't even know it was visible. I thought it was like below the line. You know when you see your own
You
screen.
didn't know. Wow.
She contoured it. He was like, let me get right.
It's been screaming at us for like 20 minutes now. and
No.
you didn't know.
Don't ever lie.
Oh yeah, get it above the line. All right. Should I button it up? Should I need to button up for the podcast?
Button up. I mean, what are you, a lawyer?
All right. Well, you know the podcast. It's me and Raymond conduct this podcast every week. I'm Kenneth Simmons, as you can see. I've changed your name. The name is Kenny for short. And Raymond, you have met twice on two separate occasions.
So
He's hit on you.
So this is the thing.
No, I personally have never met Raymond.
Oh.
Drunk MJ has met Raymond several times.
Fair, but
sober MJ has no idea who you are.
So your representative has met me on two occasions.
My representative has met you several times. Although I don't know why she's my representative, I did not let her out. But sober, she is. Sober me has never met you before.
Sober you has never. Oh, this is.
Because I heard, I know
the guys.
Raymond and Kenny.
Ray and Kenny.
Ray.
They were part of,
Ray.
Ray.
See, this is the thing.
Ray.
This is the thing. This is the
Are you
thing.
guys familiar with NASCAR?
Is it what now?
Are you guys familiar with NASCAR?
That's a southern thing.
No.
I know NASCAR. We go up the road and we turn
Confederate
right.
flag, NASCAR.
We turn right.
Get your Confederate flag out in NASCAR.
Hello. The thing is, Nadia knows that's the truth. That's all they do. They go up the road
right,
and they turn right.
And wave a Confederate flag. That's literally all that happens.
They've gotten rid of it now.
No.
Amazingly enough.
He was asking a question, and I have questions of my own to ask.
What? Did you tell them the rules, Ray? Did you tell them the rules?
when has this ever been a thing that you're on the
there
talk show
are
and you start
rules.
asking
Oh my God! You
of the
know how I feel
hosts?
about rules.
Hold on, let's
Tell
hear
them
about
the
it.
gosh.
Oh yes, what are the rules?
Ray,
This is
tell
gonna
them.
be funny, boy.
Tell them the rules, Ray.
The rules. We ask the questions.
Oh,
Those are the
only
rules.
you ask questions.
Those are the rules.
Okay.
You may ask
okay.
somewhat of a question, but you don't ask the questions.
Well, in that case, Mr. Ray and Mr. Kenny, you don't give a fuck about your rules. About your rules. Fuck you thought. What you mean? Oh, you can't ask us questions. We called you.
You must have thought you were the police.
This is anarchy on the podcast. The podcast is went to anarchy on the podcast. They're trying to take over, man. This is what happens. This is what happens.
Sounds like a you problem.
It didn't even take that long. It took like what, 10 minutes? Y'all shouldn't have told us rules.
This is what happens.
My last name is Kelly. You think I give a damn about the rules?
My last name is Jackson. Negro.
Mine was a really, really dark thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, because
Yours was pretty dark.
Yeah,
he ruined it for us.
He sure did.
Robert E.
But
Jackson.
I don't piss on people.
Okay, good. All right. So the question was, why China? Why China, girls?
Why China?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, that's why I got a job. I would have gone anywhere. It's a whole big world out there. Why not? Also, I lived in America, and that's a shithole country.
Oh, bitch. I lived in America. I'm Native American.
Yeah. I love the quote.
No, it was good when y'all had it, but it's not good. Them new owners.
I love the quote.
We was making them quilts and stuff, and then they used those blankets against us and gave us.
Yeah, them new owners, they kind of ruined it.
Colonizers, and they can't even be in the sun long. That's stupid.
Right? Like, ooh. That is a serious design flaw.
Anyways, finish answering your question so I can answer mine.
So, yeah. I'm just saying. I got a job here and I decided, why not? And now here I am.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So what had happened was I was moving from Cookeville to Chattanooga. And I was looking for a job.
Wait. Are you going to tell them the real story?
Yes.
Don't do it.
No.
It does you no favors.
It's okay. I'm here. Okay.
What are you doing the Chattanooga? What are you doing the Chattanooga choo-choo? Excuse me.
Chattanooga choo-choo. No, what? No, I was going down there to Chattown. You know, I honestly don't know a lot about Chattanooga. I was just going because my friends were going and they said, hey, you want to go? And I was like, sure. And actually, it's the guy I was dating at the time and his sister. So I was like, yeah, why not? I'm not doing shit else. Then so I was like, let me find a job so that if I want to keep my current job that was only 4 days a week, I can have something, you know, to kind of get more money and then I can relocate here. So I originally thought EF was a online teaching job. And it wasn't until after the interview that there's like, oh, yeah, relocate. And I was like, this is a scam. They're going to kidnap me for my organs. And then I thought about it and I was like, I ain't doing shit else.
I'm done. I'm going. This is nuts.
I feel so sorry for the person who kidnaps either of us for organs. Bruh. Imagine this disappointment. Oh my God. If you grab me for my liver, you are fucked.
But that's a true story. It's a true story. True. That's how it happened.
So
and then
you moved your own self into an online teacher.
I mean, I'm chilling here. Like, I like it kind of. The racism's kind of bad, but I'm light skinned, so I kind of get the way with it. It's not really
that bad because
you can't tell with my mask on.
Back home, they're like hanging people. You are not.
Well, I don't want to be hanged. I don't want to be strange fruit, and I'm afraid of heights.
Oh yeah, they've hung like 6 people. Like they've had like 6 people hanging from a tree.
Because I'm talking shit like all the way down.
You mean all the way up
and down?
Oh, you got to start
because you got to go up and then.
Oh yeah.
But what they?
No, but like what if they?
I don't know their method.
If they get you from the ground, you're only going up.
If they get me from the ground, they got some muscles. Cause bitch, I'm heavy.
I'm not, but I kick.
I'm a good 200.
I'm putting up a fight, and I'm talking about your mama and your grandmama the whole way.
Fuck,
I'm gonna be hella
disrespectful. That'll help.
I'm be like, yeah, I bet you. I'll be hella disrespectful the whole time I'm going up. Like your grandma pussy thing. That's why you gotta hang people.
Mick, strangle the bitch.
Strangle her. Shut her up. Shut her up, goddammit.
You got it. Because if you
God
said
damn,
that
she
me,
needs to
the
shut the
first
fuck
word
up.
out of my mouth would probably be some dumb shit like your mama's pussy
God
stick,
damn
and
it.
you've been trying to get that smell ever since you came out. That's why you do dumb shit like this.
And he looked like this.
And now you have to kill me because like you gonna let me live after I talk about your mama like
all
that.
seriousness, I do send love to those families because that's a really fucked up situation. It's we literally are from. Well, I'm from a place where dogs and cats have more rights than black people do, and we're like, yo, stop killing us. We're fucking shit up, and they're like, ah.
Also, it's really.
And I don't get it.
It's really fucking disrespectful what they're doing because they're like, oh my god, they just committed suicide. Like, what black person you know is going to walk out into the middle of the fucking park and hang themselves from a tree? Who the fuck does that? Like, it's insulting to the family's intelligence. It's insulting to our collective intelligences. It's just fucking stupid. Just like be honest. Like it's strange fruit. It's 2020 and we haven't figured out our shit because we don't want to.
It's not.
I'd actually be like less militant about it if they would just like be honest and just be like, yeah, we don't really like y'all and we wish y'all could go back to being slaves. And so we are taking that out.
We can easily say, well, go to.
And then and then I can be like, you know, fuck you, fuck your mama, fuck your daddy, fuck your great grandma, your great granddaddy.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Eat a bag of dicks.
Yes.
And then we can, you know, like now we know we don't like each other. Like, but don't lie to me and tell me the shit that I'm seeing is not the shit that I'm seeing. This conversation got real deep.
But you moved. But you moved to China for that anyway. Isn't that why?
But no, because China racism isn't the same as back home racism.
China racism is like a big chunk of it is ignorance, and the second part is the influence based off of just what they have seen. In the States, you fucking have seen us. Like, don't play. Like, you are an immigrant telling other immigrants they can't come to a land that's not yours. Like, what the fuck?
And like before I came here, I actually had the racism conversation with my friends and family because a lot of the people in my circle was like, are you really sure you want to do this? Because, you know, they don't really allow back chat in China and you have problems with, yes, you have a mouth. And
yes. You're gross.
So are you.
Okay.
Anyway, so they were like, saying,
let it free.
Can't be serious for shit. None of it talking about serious shit.
You're talking about some serious thing. Keep it going.
So they were basically saying, like, you know, you're not one to like let racism just rest. Like, I called the Mayo people terrible things. Terrible things.
This bitch said Mayo.
I once saw an older Mayo lady on the internet that she needed to hop off the dick that made her.
Oh, because she had a cousin brother.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
But she also did call me the N-word and a bitch before I said that.
Okay.
What's a cousin brother?
A cousin brother is when your brother is your uncle, your cousin.
Your cousin.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
That's a proper down south thing,
That's
right?
What the hell?
Or a neph's son.
Yeah.
A neph's son.
A neph's son.
Nephew's son.
What about a grandfather father?
That's disgusting.
I'm
even in the family.
That's basically what I told her. I basically told her she had a grandfather father. So like I'm not known back home for being like. Huh?
Whoa.
So
I'm a keeper in the family.
But that's
he's going down.
Southern, but more people.
No, that's
Royals do more inbreeding than Southerners. Just saying.
You won't offend me. You're not gonna.
That's not offensive. That's not offensive to us.
Not offensive
Don't worry
to us
about
at all.
Don't worry about it. We don't care.
So what y'all got the family together like, hey girl, don't make this rape turn into a murder? What the fuck?
Shit got dark.
That got dark. That was real dark.
What the?
Getting dark. It's getting dark here. Anyway, so
I was saying, the point was, I am not known for being normal. Well, that too, but I'm not known for being like soft and quiet when it comes to anything, much less for ignorance and bigotry of any kind. So my family was concerned that when I came over here to a country that doesn't really allow you to speak out about things like that, it would quickly turn bad for me. So I sat down with them and I had the conversation. And basically my point was, back in the US, I'm terrified for my brothers to leave the house all the time. Like I have literally had dreams.
Say the crowd. Wrap this shit up.
My little brother is in the military, and I've literally had dreams where he got pulled over by the cops and got shot. even though he's in the military, and told him that he was in the military for some shit that he couldn't have done. And that's the kind of dreams that I have for my people in the States. Whereas here, I come over here, and sure, some of them don't like me and they won't sit next to me on the train, but all that means is that I get some breathing room.
Yeah.
It's like 50 million.
I'm good with that.
Here. Some of them don't want to sit on. Yeah, I'm good with that. Like, if you give me the choice between hung from a tree or getting my 6 feet of space, I'm taking my 6 feet of space.
Yeah, I definitely feel significantly safer here. And it's crazy because, you know, in the areas that we did live in, there's been so many times that I've been pulled over, but there's also been times where I would just get off an exit. It wouldn't even be my exit if law enforcement was behind me. It's just that feeling. And like here, I've been lost navigating by myself, but I was just like, okay, like,
yeah, I could not be lost in the States.
Yeah. China is super safe.
Instant panic. I'm definitely.
China is super safe. China is super safe.
Talking of like feeling that you're being followed by law enforcement and, you know, pulling off at the wrong exit to sort of like just to see what's going on or whatever. What does freedom mean to you? Because America's meant to be the great free place, but what does it mean to you guys?
We don't know what that is.
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
I don't feel like I've ever experienced freedom on a
ever.
Yeah, I don't want to say like for myself. Like, I've experienced personal freedom, but systemically, I don't feel like I've ever been free. I'm either from the Caribbean and living in the Caribbean where we've been colonized to death. And you're from home, you know, like we've been colonized to death. Yes, that's why his face is not on the screen. You didn't need to tell me. Dumbass. But
you're not mad at me.
I'm not. But you're either like you're from the Caribbean where you've been colonized to death, and you're like they've developed new weapons of colonization to like today that like gentrification in the Caribbean is such a big ongoing issue that people don't talk about. And the tourism industry is another huge monster that we have to battle and contend with on a daily basis. Like just or you live in the US where police brutality is a thing and where they're considering making Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization, but the KKK have been terrorizing people for hundreds of years, and they're still just an organization, even while they're recruiting in Black communities to spread fear. Or you're over here where the pandemic breaks out and they like 19 Nigerians is enough to convince them that Wuhan is a place in China. Like, it doesn't matter.
In Africa, because we've definitely heard them calling it the African virus. And I was like,
yeah, like, really? I was like, do y'all remember? Yeah, like we've literally been here where they're like, oh my God, foreigners, and like people, they will be in a group of locals, and nobody will be wearing a mask or taking any kind of preventionary measures. And then they see us and they pull their shirts up because they don't even have a mask to wear.
I'm like, bro, you already got it.
They see us and they like, even while we're coming down the street today with that older guy, and as we're walking past, hundreds of people have probably walked past him today. No mask on. As soon as he sees us coming, he pulls his mask out of his pocket to put his mask on his face because somehow we're responsible for the virus because we're foreigners, because 19 Nigerians tested positive for the virus. 19 Black people was all it took for them to show their full racist asses and put people out on the streets and stop renting apartments to people.
Or accepting any kind of currency for anything but team with them.
Exactly. And so it's like, as a Black person, there is no place in the world that you feel safe or truly free. Now, granted, we do have a knack for making...
We do have Africa.
I've never...
That's the thing.
Well, it's on the list.
That's the thing, though.
In my experience... Okay, so in my experience, because I've never been to Africa, I can't include Africa. There's no place that I have been in the world that I have felt completely free as a Black person. However, there are, you know, like small enclaves of freedom in my life. Like my friendships are like, I talk hella shit about her. Skirt. But we are really close. And
I don't even know her. I met her walking on the bus today.
You see my struggle. We are really close.
I feel you.
That's because we're sitting beside each other. That's stupid.
Just, and, you know, and that in itself is a type of freedom. Like, to me, as a Black person, when everything in your, like when every moment of your life feels like you could be in immediate danger, being able to get close to anyone, especially other Black people, is a freedom in and of itself.
That's beautiful, actually.
You take over.
I actually like that. No, that's good. That's good. And it's true. And it's real. It's real. It touched me. And that's not even sarcasm.
I wasn't trying to touch you like that, but...
Well, you did, though, girl. You did.
You did put it in
I'm going to be in the bed. I'm going to be in my bed thinking about it. Woman cuddling. Oh, that was nice.
Wow!
You know what?
About
We were
freedom.
talking about...
We're still talking about freedom.
Have you ever felt free? Just ask for help, bitch.
I don't like asking for help.
I'm
anyways,
just gonna hit you with the bottle. I swear to fucking God.
Anyways, what I was saying, I don't know. There are things that like you kind of just have to. I feel like you have to create that freedom for yourself because there are things that we've done that may, you're always putting your life. You're always putting your freedom in jeopardy. No, like based off of.
No, we
decisions. So you never, like, I value the little freedom that I have, but I don't feel like 100% I can just go anywhere in the world and do whatever I want to do because I feel like even if I try, sometimes there may be backlash or, you don't even really have the freedom of speech anymore. And that's the most simple thing because as long as you're doing no harm, you should still be entitled to your own opinion as long as that's not broadcasting or harming another person. Like, and I just feel like it's really censoring your thoughts and stuff, but I'm not going to comment too much on that. So it's like I feel like everyday things where we could be vocal about them and use them in a positive way. When people don't, they're slowly being stripped away from us. And then it's just like, it adds to the fuel of, oh, well, there's these kind of people, so we should really just not even respect them as a human being, etc. So that's my thoughts on it. And even growing up in a small town, like I experienced more racism as I was in college because I went to another small town. Ooh. There's a theme. Anyways, but it is what it is. And I've always had to censor myself or code switch. Like I've been very well aware of that because of the areas that I'm in and just being able to be free to be yourself, which I understand what some of this dumb shit we've done while we're not allowed to, but all in the same sense, if we want to, we should be able to, as long as we're doing no harm to anyone else.
That's a big thing. In sort of like in Black life, which is being able to code switch. For our listeners who don't know what code switching is, would you like to give an explanation, please?
Okay, so basically, here, let me give you an example. So I used to sell cars for a whatever company.
The way you said example, that was an example right there.
Exactly how I begin to explain
it. Let me give you an example.
However, I was a product specialist. So if you called in looking for a model, blah, 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 I'm like, hey, this and this. Let us schedule a test drive. Do you have any additional questions? I can get you over to a financial representative, etc. But they would come in, like for one, whenever I got off the phone, I would hang up like, bro, what the fuck is for lunch? Like, what's good? We're in there clowning or whatever because I could be me in that setting, even though it was a setting of predominantly white people. But they also knew at the end of the day, I'm me. I say, yo, cars, get off my dick. Like, that simple. However, it would be to the point where we would have customers come in and they were like, oh, I'm looking for Nadia. Hi. And you can just see it in their face, just like,
oh, I love that look. I hate that look at the same time.
I can read too. You know what I mean? And so instead of talking about the vehicle that they want to buy, so where are you from? Earth, bitch, you got 32 MPG. You got aluminum alloy wheels because you wanted a sport model. This is a 6-cylinder, leather bolsters. Is there anything else that you like? What payment are we trying to do?
Code switching is a double-edged sword, though. Well, not really. Code switching.
True story.
Yeah.
It's survival. Code switching is survival, man. It's survival.
It's not just survival. Well, I mean, yes, it's survival, but I mean, if you are really just an ain't shit person, like I can be sometimes every day, code switching can be a valuable tool to really realize the kind of races that you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. I had a white friend when I got here, and if she hears the shit, she's gonna know who the fuck she is, and I don't give a fuck. Sheesh. And we went on a girls' trip, and now she met me at work. We were work friends, and so this is the only version. Like, she's met a little bit crazy me, like we've gone out together, but she's never met wild ass. I might, I might leave your ass in Thailand, me.
The you that Jerry probably saw the other night after all those fucking shots.
Yes. That me. She's never met her because I'm at work. I'm in a professional environment. You have to see that professional side of me. That's one. And two, because as a Black woman in China, I always have to be cognizant of the kind of image that I portray.
Always, all the time.
But then we went on a trip, and it really solidified the idea in my mind that we don't live the same lives as the Mayo people at all. Let me tell you what happened.
Mayo, hot sauce.
Mayo. No, ain't nothing about that hot about them people.
I'm talking about you.
Listen, so we went on this trip and we're in a taxi in a country that none of us have ever been to before, right? None of us ever been there before. And she decides to get in her feelings because it was me, her, and another Black girl. And the Black girl is from the States and I'm from the Caribbean. So we went to a rum tasting and yes, it was so good. It was that rum that I gave you. Nice. It was so good. So we went to a rum tasting, and on our way back from the rum tasting, the other Black girl and I won't call her name either because I don't have her permission to do that.
No need.
So she and I fall back, and we started having a conversation, and it's a really deep conversation about some of the structural differences between the Black Caribbean community and the Black American community, and where some of our ideas on what Blackness is and how Blackness should move forward differ.
Of course.
And we started off on two completely different ends of the spectrum, and we were basically working our way towards an understanding of each other. Beautiful shit, right? This girl decides she's not a part of the conversation. So obviously the conversation either cannot continue or it needs to end. That's the same shit. It cannot continue or it needs to change. She gets mad because she gets mad because we're not including her. When we finally start including her, she pitches a fit, start crying out of nowhere, scare me, the other Black girl, and the taxi driver, and jumps out of the taxi. Now 2 Black girls take a white girl to Thailand, and she disappears, and nobody can find out. What do you think going to happen?
Code switch.
Code switch.
She just got lost, innit? She just got lost.
When we
Just
were
the way it goes.
taxi driver, what happened? I was Susan. I had to be a Susan. Like, hello. Yes. So our friend is having a problem, and we don't know when she will return, but she should be fine momentarily. But what I wanted to say was, she's a skunt. She a skunt.
That's beigey. That's a beigey term, boy.
That was beigey. That was
real beigey.
That
wasn't from Dominica. That was from Dominica.
That's not Dominica. That's
not Dominica. No. They'll use it in Trini as well. They'll use it. You're skunt.
No, in Dominica, she say her mother is a skunt.
Your mother skunt.
No, we don't say mother skunt.
Yes, in Trini we say your mother skunt.
Mother skunt is
Virgin Islands.
No, we'll say this in Trinidad. We'll see this in Trinidad as well.
You eating, Ray?
We can eat. Say less.
No, you can't eat. You can't eat, Ray. You can't really eat. God damn it.
No.
Oh, and you can't chew. Like, we used to do a podcast with me and my friends.
You can't eat?
We couldn't do any of that. We could just drink.
Not allowed to eat.
Drinking was the only thing that was allowed.
Just so happened.
Just a bad precedent. You said bad precedent on this podcast.
Mate.
What's going on?
Right?
God damn it.
You know, I'm just always getting in trouble here, man. What's going on?
God damn, Ray. God damn it. We could have a discussion afterwards. You know when you start having the discussion. Ray?
Do I have to talk to the manager?
Just as bad as we are. Can't nobody on this podcast stay on task.
I have.
No one is on task today.
Ray. Yeah. Ray,
I'm
can I have a quick word with you, Ray?
You can't pay attention to shit when you are too poor to go find out why.
Bitch. All right.
Okay. So, all right, next question.
Not a shame.
So, I was having a discussion with one of my Chinese colleagues about issues just surrounding race. And you know what they said? They said there's no problems in China because everybody's the same. Because everyone's the same. Everybody's the same, a homogeneous society. So she said that there's no racism or any prejudice in China because everybody's homogeneous. Everyone's the same. So do you believe that it's easier in homogenous societies where everyone's kind of the same, rather than places like the States and other parts of the world where everyone's been.
The less inflammatory, still inflammatory answer is that one, it is patently false. Patently false?
I don't know.
It's fucking not true that they are all the same. There are darker Chinese who get discriminated against. There are disabled Chinese who get discriminated against. There are all different kinds of Chinese, and to pretend that there's no racism because they all look the same is a lie. It's just a lie that your friend has sold herself so that she can ignore the fact that people who don't look like her, because I can guarantee you, I don't have to see your friend to know that she looks like what everybody thinks a Chinese person is supposed to look like. But it's a lie that she sold herself to convince herself that people who don't look like her, who are also Chinese, are not getting treated differently. But it's also a lie that she's telling herself so that she can convince herself that people who are not from China, who live in China, who perform very essential services to China, because I guarantee you they can't teach themselves to speak English. I've heard them speak it.
I know English.
Kind of. So, but the people who are living in China, who are producing valuable and necessary skills to the Chinese populace, who don't look like Chinese people, get treated like shit every day by regular, everyday Chinese people who have either never seen them before or who have only ever seen them on TV and have bought into TV propaganda or media propaganda about what those people are actually like. Racism is alive and well here.
And I look like a Chinese baby. And I still get treated differently.
It is flourishing here. And one of the reasons it's flourishing differently than it flourishes in America is because, one, they don't have the same culture of violence that America has. Not that there has not been violence in Chinese culture. Not that there isn't violence in Chinese culture now, but they don't have the same glorification of violence within their culture that Americans have. They don't.
I would say it's a different standpoint, because all of my kids, like, if we have extra time on tests and stuff, I'll allow them to draw or something like that. And they're drawing, like, people being shot. They want to become police officer so they can shoot whoever. I'm like, I don't know where you're getting that from, but you got to get off the VPNs, bro.
Yeah, kids are assholes.
But it's very violent when they draw anything or they're left to their own.
Yeah, I would say, I would amend that to say that, huh?
It's not physically violent.
There's nobody more violent than kids. It's not just not, I would amend it to say not outwardly violent. Like, they're very demure, very non-confrontational people in their day-to-day lives. And so their version of violence doesn't come off the way that a more aggressive group of people would.
Like Americans?
Americans.
Just say it.
No, because there's nobody worse than Caribbean people.
Y'all like to burn shit down.
Yes, we do. Ooh, boy, do we ever. It's fun, too. But in the West, violence is much more, like, outward than it is here.
It's more desensitized because you don't think shit about shit.
That's true.
Here, like, the things you show, everything's so censored, so I could understand why it's like there's an interest, it's kind of like a taboo, whatever, but it's not glorified in front of them to where, like, anything we see, it's in there.
But that doesn't mean it's not dangerous, though.
No, I'm not saying that it's not dangerous because of the fact that they don't know how serious it is, or it could be to the point to where they're like, oh, well, you know, they might not know the permanent effects to where we do, but we're just like, fuck it.
But I'd say that Chinese violence is more dangerous than Western violence because they have been a homogenous society. So whenever they see something that doesn't, like, they go to extremes. They either really love you and they're running up to you on the streets to like touch your hair and touch your skin, or they hate you so much that they would put you out on the streets in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Anyway, I'm being sarcastic.
I know.
Or like today, just being, or just metro.
Get a mask on, girl.
Yeah,
get a goddamn mask on.
Fucking mask on.
What?
Get your goddamn mask on. This ain't no Trump rally, girl.
What? Or just like today, I was on the metro and like no one was sitting by me like I gave a fuck. But then there was this one dude who was just like you know, he said, you can tell like his energy was even different because he's just like, the fuck y'all are stupid, and sat down. But being on the call with my friend from home, she's like, yo, why does everybody do the same shit? Like, why is it so similar? I was like, bitch, China. Like, fuck, that's like every answer you need to know. But I just feel like they just, I don't agree that it's easier. And I just feel like you just lose so much individuality, obviously.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
And that's the thing that you need for these, you know, future leaders and stuff. People are okay with being some type of way or not just going with the flow, because there's none of that here. Like, our experience with the pandemic is completely different from our coworkers, our local coworkers, to the point to where someone was explaining to them a situation that we saw. We literally was like, no, that should happen. She saw it. She's like, no, this happened. And the person was like, no, you're lying.
It couldn't have happened. But I also feel like it's not really our story to tell. I feel like the stuff that happened in April, when it got really bad, was like we were just a small drop in the bucket of what happened. And it didn't really happen to us. It happened around us. And for a while there, we got involved. But the story is for the people who are actually in the fray of it to tell.
That's the story.
That's their story. Like,
maybe in a sense, then that's answering the question. Then, all right, because at the end of the day, it's the fact that we're talking about whether it's the homogenous society is better or not, and maybe that's what it was. Is that they're looking for it, for the world to be a more
negative Ghost Rider.
Their idea of what a homogenous society is, and the fact that this is the biggest African sort of like black community in China maybe makes them feel unsettled. And so maybe that was what was driving what was happening, because obviously he's saying he's up in Suzhou, he's not seeing anything like that. Yeah, down here we see quite a bit of it. We say we get onto the metro, people don't want to sit next to you.
What happens if Suzhou gets a huge influx of black people? What do you think is going to happen?
The same thing, obviously. The same thing will happen. Of course, the same thing will happen.
I think the same thing will happen. I feel like when there's 4 or 5 people who don't look like you, and all you've ever seen are people who look like you, there's a certain sense of wonder and amazement at them even being here, at them even existing. And I've seen it happen with people, like with older people, when I'm walking on the street, who look at me and are just like,
they're coming up like, oh, your hair's so pretty.
Wow, like they just look at me with this sense of just wonderment that I even exist.
Because they're older and they've never seen someone who looks like us their entire life, or they don't see it that often. But Guangzhou has a lot of foreigners, so it's like here, I could understand if it was places surrounding Guangzhou, but here it was so bad it just didn't make sense, because these are the people you break bread with, that you don't mind doing businesses with, etc. And then all of a sudden it took this little inconvenience or this misinformation for you to act this way on a major scale, like to international coverage. That, anyways, but.
I wasn't surprised.
It's something so small, but in a sense, it was just like, wow. So how do you go back to normals? Because people are like acting like that shit didn't happen now. Like, do you do that, or do you go to fuck home? If you can go home.
I mean, we can't go home.
I mean, we can't go home. That's okay. So, I got vacation.
So looking at things like that and what has happened, if you had the opportunity to have a Thanos snap, what would you hope? What would you try and change?
I would change several things.
No,
one snap. No.
One snap.
Got one snap. You got one.
I only get one.
One snap.
But
you haven't seen the Avengers.
So like, there's this one really big thing that could change the world.
Have you seen the Avengers? You saw the Avengers?
Yes.
The snap.
Right. The snap.
Yeah, but you know, like after that, he destroyed the gauntlet. He could have snapped again.
He did, but he snapped and destroyed
achieved everything he'd done.
He's achieved what he wanted.
Exactly, but I'm not Thanos. I don't have one desire because I'm not a psychopath.
But you got to do the thing that would be the butterfly effect.
Okay, so look, just one snap.
I am not Thanos.
Love to change.
Well, I am not
one snap.
I'm not a one-dimensional.
And it drags all of the energy out of your world, out of your life.
Obviously, the brilliant, intelligent, thoughtful answer that I should say is that I would get rid of bigots. But what I really would do is get rid of people who put mayonnaise on everything.
That's Chinese people.
I like mayonnaise.
No, it's people.
I like
who
mayonnaise.
are mayonnaise.
Not
I
in
love
everything.
this.
I wouldn't
I'm
get rid of all
loving this.
mayonnaise people.
I'm loving this.
Okay, so then just
I just don't see. Listen,
And they're arguing
think-
about it as well.
Yeah, no, they're arguing
Listen,
about mayonnaise.
They're arguing about it. They're arguing about the fucking snap. This is
You're
amazing.
arguing, but
This is the very best. Ken, you're not
we know
editing
what
this.
we mean.
This
We know
shit,
what we
this
mean.
shit goes
We know
out
what we mean.
as
I
is.
would step away racism completely, and then
I mean, like the humanitarian part of me who wants to help everyone and who wants everybody to be happy and free to enjoy their lives,
take your time.
including me and like my cousins and the younger people who I really just don't want to live the life that we've had to live or that our parents or grandparents have had.
I mean,
to
I've
live.
been kind of dope.
Like my real answer is that I wouldn't want any of the kids, and especially black kids who are coming up, to have to jump the hurdles that we had to jump through, or to have to walk into the walls that we walked into without even knowing that they were there.
So
That's
what kind of
my
snap
real
is that?
answer.
But what kind of snap is that?
Talk about the
That's a very, very.
though.
What kind of snap is that, though? What kind of snap is that? I don't want the kids and
You
them
have to get
to.
rid of one thing
What
that
snap
would,
is
that
that?
would abolish the slippery slope. That's what
But
I'm saying.
it's not just racism. It's
But-
bigotry in all its forms. It's racism. It's xenophobia. It's transgender.
Is that a one word for all of that?
So what snap is that?
Bigotry.
Okay, then get rid of bigotry.
You get rid
I
of
get rid of
bigotry.
bigotry.
Why was that hard?
Because mayo on pizza is not supposed to be a thing.
Neither is fucking corn, but we're in goddamn China.
Okay, there are certain places mayo should not fucking go. Anything that goes in the oven should not have mayonnaise in it, and that includes cake. That's why I said it's not just the Chinese people, because the mayo people be putting mayo in cake too.
Bitch, why?
I don't fucking know. They say it adds body and flavor. Like, it's fucking mayonnaise,
Their
bruh.
idea of body and flavor, salt and pepper, bitch.
I don't understand why I ordered sushi if it had mayo on it. I ordered pizza if it had mayo on it. This is a very serious subject.
We're triggered.
And I understand that
I
you guys don't
understand.
think it's serious.
I'm not serious, but it's
However,
fine.
You
It's fine.
cannot
Whatever.
sit here and tell me that it's okay to put mayo on everything.
Salads.
Everything.
Whatever you find important. Whatever you find important, man. All right.
Bro,
Hey,
cake.
yeah, that snap. That snap is gonna be. That's gonna be
Next.
the worst fucking
Next.
snap ever.
Oh God. So mayo's gone. Mayo and
Bigotry.
everything's
My
gone.
final answer is bigotry.
Mayo.
What was my
Oh no!
snap?
All right. MJ, you've had a chance to have your snap.
Yeah.
Have your. Please have your
He
snap.
told me to shut up.
Tell us what your snap is.
I'm not saying show. I'm just saying. But just
No,
move on.
mayo's not my snap.
It was his
My
snap.
snap is bigotry.
His snap was definitely
Your
mayo.
snap?
It was definitely
Your
mayo.
My snap was bigotry. I said it in the beginning.
Spoke about 10 minutes about mayo, and now it's different. Well,
You
no,
don't get it, Brett. That's just serious.
Listen, he don't get it. He don't get the mayo or the corn.
Let's listen.
We get each other.
Let's hear him out.
All right. Mate,
Next.
MJ, hand the glove over to Nadia. Let her have a
Nadia.
snap.
Nadia, your snap.
Fuck y'all.
No glove, no love.
And it better not be mayonnaise. It better not be mayonnaise, man. God damn it.
No. I will say this. She took mine. However,
Hers is corn.
mine is fucking corn.
Oh, God.
That's not what I'm doing snap for. That's not my snap.
I have 2 words for y'all, okay? Corn juice.
And that's not even a porn term. But anyways, let's see. I would get rid of. I would just want everything to kind of level the playing field. And I don't know how to put this in a category to where, or just at least get rid of sex trafficking. Like, that's important.
That's fine. But see, we're talking about it in like terms of exactly how.
No, he took it wrong. I can tell by how he's laughing. He took it wrong.
He sure did.
But what I'm saying is, like, those people who feel so empowered to be able to do something so horrible, like, level that field to where they don't have the ability, they don't have the money to bail them out, like, to do these horrible things to people. But if everyone's able to, like, I guess have the same chances, so maybe things could be different. You get rid of that and racism. I mean, we might be fucking decent.
Actually, we might be. But I don't know. Like, humans are really a trash species.
Earth is the ghetto.
It sure is. We love destroying things. We hate things that are different from us.
Maybe get rid of human beings.
Maybe that's a snap. Yeah, maybe that's the snap.
Get rid of human
Maybe that's
beings.
the actual snap. It's like
you get rid of humans.
Yeah.
Would you sacrifice yourself? Would you sacrifice yourself?
That one.
Yeah.
Politics. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. That's what we're talking about here.
But without bigotry, politics.
Trying to say we made our
But that's what I'm saying. No. But that's what you're actually talking about here. You're actually talking about the politics.
Yeah.
Which
not
drives,
really, because without bigotry,
no, you are.
Politics
you actually
is
are.
fine.
You're actually talking about the no. You're actually
I love rape. No. No.
So you're talking about the things that are driving the human beings, which are the politics. So basically, what the best solution is, and I'm putting on my best German. I shouldn't actually do that. Actually,
No.
But basically, it's just to get rid of all the humans. Get rid of all the humans, and life will be bliss. The planet will survive.
So you're fine with
sacrificing the animals will survive.
That's your snap, Ray.
With your snap, I do agree that getting rid of humans are
the wait. Everyone. When I count to 3, everyone say no like Thor did.
No.
2, 3. Bollocks.
Fuck you mean? I want to live.
Yeah. But what would be your snap? What would be your snap?
That's all I was going to ask. Like, I do agree that getting rid of all the humans would solve the problem of the earth dying. Absolutely, because we like to say the earth is dying like it's a passive thing, like we're not actively.
The earth isn't dying.
However,
what everyone's scared of
are you willing to snap yourself out of existence to make that happen? Because when you say all the humans, you mean you too.
Or were they like just somewhere kicking me?
Is that your snap, Ray?
Listen,
is that your snap, though? Or has this been placed on you?
As long as we can have a fantastic orgy just before it all sort of like goes, then yeah.
That's two snaps. That's two
snaps. I don't want to have an orgy.
That's two snaps, my friend.
So my snap.
What if I get
everyone 24 hours?
Like, bitch, you got knocked up like that.
24 hours before it disappears.
You don't even know.
Oh, what if it's on the chicken
I would totally have to fall downstairs.
Okay, there's a certain demographic of people on Earth that I feel look like chicken cutlets that I would like to not have sex with. What happened?
So you're talking about people who you don't want to have sex with at the end of the world orgy. Is this what we were talking about now?
No, we said we don't want to get snapped back in and like what?
No. Just because the world is ending doesn't mean I don't still have taste and discernment. There are some people who
no one's stopping you from having taste.
I would not have sex
no one stops you from having taste. You still have taste.
Exactly. There are some people that if I knew
just the end of the world
tomorrow, my goal would be to find them and light them on fire.
Yeah, because you can
What? She's gonna light people on fire. She's gonna find people, light people on fire, and be very picky in that during the end of the world orgy, and be picky.
No. Listen, my best friend from home, there was like, well, someone had asked him, what would you do if you only had 24 hours left and you knew you only had 24 hours? He said, I'm going to any and everyone that I feel could be potential harm to anyone I love that I cannot protect whenever I'm away, and I'm killing them.
That's wild. That's equal parts sexy and equal parts terrifying.
I just wanted him to fucking get my fucking student loans cleared. I mean,
that was terrifying and a great film. What a film! What a film! Damn it! When you see this, that's a great film.
That would be an amazing story, but you can't tell people and in the beginning that he only has 24 hours. You just have to like watch him snap and go on a 24-hour killing spree.
And he has narcolepsy, so there's a twist. But you have to star my friend because it's funny.
And then at the end, he dies, and it turns out he only had 24 hours to live anyway. And all these people that he was killing are people who could hurt the people he loves.
My friend and I, he's fine. We turn up together, and I'm a really good.
It's not your friend. It's just the movie.
We're just the script. It's the script that we're going to write for Hollywood and make it happen.
Attachment to it.
Fuck Hollywood. We're going to do this independently.
We'll give you some money.
You ain't doing shit independently.
Okay, no, like I don't want to do anything with Hollywood.
You don't want to do anything with Hollywood?
No.
So what are you going to do it with? Nollywood. Let's do Nollywood. Let's do a Nollywood film then. Let's do it with Nollywood.
Let's do Nollywood. I feel
hard
like
pass.
Why?
Have you seen Nollywood?
Ridiculous.
Exactly. I want the movie to.
I want you.
Have you seen the movie Beyonce?
Yeah, they got
Nollywood is great.
He has never seen Nollywood films.
No, but I heard.
You could tell.
You have never seen the deal Beyonce. Come ahead.
It is all over her face.
I grew up with first world problems.
All right.
Things to watch, things to read.
I grew up watching kung fu movies where the lips didn't sync up, and it was amazing.
What? Look at you.
Kung fu movies where the lips didn't sync up.
I know, like
But
Yeah.
Bitch, I'm gonna fight you.
Yes,
I love it.
and
I
it
did
was
too.
amazing.
I was well rounded. I really like the movie Kung Fu Hustle.
So that came
with
from.
you.
I'm with you.
I'm
I
with
love
you.
that film as well. I don't
With-
know where that came from. It was just a random mashing of ideas, and Kung Fu Hustle came out.
You
of
haven't
it.
met
Beautiful.
us, so you don't get it yet. You haven't met us, so you don't get it. Like
get
all
it.
of our conversations are random, and a lot of them are whatever's playing. I spit a line from it because it's like real life happening, and she's like,
We have 5 conversations going on at any given time.
Right.
And we
Very
keep track
true.
of all of them flawlessly.
Amazing.
As long as what comes out of it is beautiful. That's all that I care about. So yeah. So my snap would be one thing. I've always said this, is that I just want everyone to start from the same position and let's see who fucking wins. That's me. That would be my snap. Fuck it. Everyone
I
start from
like
the same
it.
position.
I thought
and
I
let's
was
see
gonna
who
have to
wins.
tease you. I thought I was gonna have to
I
roast the
said
fuck out
that,
of
so
you.
I'm glad you said
But
that
that's
too.
a good one.
And let's see who wins.
But
I don't care. That's me.
I don't
Great
think-
that it-
And you know what? I don't think it's going to go the way the vast majority of the world thinks it's going
It
to
will
go.
be
How the fuck
very
you call
different.
yourself the majority already in my mouth?
All right.
Been there.
Yeah,
And that T-shirt, and the stretch marks.
are we keeping that? Are we keeping that? Are we going to keep that? Are we keeping that one? I don't know if we're keeping that. Is that going out in the edit?
Is this
Where
right?
did Ray go? It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I think you went to the toilet. I think that was just, ooh, that was. All right. So,
Wait, that flashlight we were talking about.
what was this flashlight thing? What was this about? What was this flashlight thing about?
So
All right,
You
bring it
wasn't
to
here,
close.
so
they
you
were
didn't
they right.
You were late.
So they were
That's how we
mentioning
started off.
they were mentioning a flashlight. So MJ was talking about some flashlight and shit. So I said, "Oh, what do you need a flashlight for?" Nadia comes up with, "Did he just mention flashlight? Like, what the fuck?"
He said flashlight. You heard him. I heard him.
I didn't say
Flash.
flashlight. It's maybe because
Flash.
his dial's very
Yes, flashlight.
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 I heard it.
Somebody with his name.
Yeah, a little bit of George Clinton going on.
George
What
Clinton.
is that's your name?
Flashlight.
Flashlight.
All right.
First name.
So, people, I think we're going to bring it to a close. Any final words before we end?
So they're sick and tired of us already. Damn.
They're not sick and tired of you, but do you know how much editing this is going to take?
Listen, I'm not
Yes,
even gonna
because
lie
we used
about
to have.
it.
I used to be on a different podcast, and we talked shit for hours, and we drank even more stuff. Totally get it. Stu Kids, shout out. Bloop, bloop.
But the editing.
Oh, we're supposed to shout out the boys.
Oh, but we
You
didn't
shouting
do
Fuck
out.
them boys.
You shouting out
No,
towards it.
never.
Who
They're like,
shout-
oh,
who's-
brothers.
Shout out.
You having shout outs? Okay, let's have the shout outs. Let's have them.
No.
Oh, we can do shout outs? Shout out to my
Wait.
mama
Why
because
would
she
you- why
gave
would you
birth
do
to
that?
a legend.
Do no harm, take no shit. That's the closing.
Okay.
Yours is do no harm, take no
I've
shit.
got to say,
And pull out because it's nice to.
Mine is
Pull out for
fuck
this
all
nice
systems
thing. Okay.
of oppression.
Pull out or people go downstairs.
And if one more label try to stop me, they're
It's
gonna be
gonna
some
be a
dead-headed niggas in the lobby.
No one can call that boring, I dare say. Thanks for the young ladies for joining us on this week's podcast. It was definitely an interesting ride. And please join us next week where we will have another guest. Please subscribe to Podbean, our podcast platform, and also to our YouTube platform. See you next week.